Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, and Lorna Slater, the gift that keeps on giving. Turns out, and it's hardly news, that she was wrong. Gosh darn it. Well, this particular wrong is what caused the DRS scheme to be delayed and eventually abandoned. Do you remember the DRS scheme? That madcap scheme that everyone said won't work, that they kept pushing for regardless. And then when it did crash and burn, they blamed it on Westminster. Turns out that that's not, strictly speaking, correct. They lost a court case. They'd have to address the issues in the court case before they could proceed. The delay was inevitable. But rather than delay and fix the thing, that would mean admitting, of course, that they got something wrong, and they can never admit that. They instead phony up some reason to delay it and blame Westminster and then say, oh no, we're cancelling it. And so they invented some spurious reason, which wasn't true. They said it because glass wasn't on there. And when everyone, including the people running the project, including glass people, everyone in the industry, said, no, it was perfectly good, it'll run without glass, we don't need to worry about glass. But she ignored that, not because of the glass situation, but because she needed the excuse to blame Westminster. It would have been delayed anyway. Their own risk register revealed it. I love the truth. The truth always comes out. Politicians often forget that fact, that the truth always comes out. And so that's why I ask you right now to hit that subscribe button so that you can hear the truth when I reveal it. Anyway, we'll have a look at this story to see why the moron that is Lorna Slater got it wrong again. Here you go. More humiliation for Lorna Slater as a register proves deposit return scheme would have been delayed regardless of the Westminster decision. It would have happened anyway. It was inevitable, as I said. There was no way it couldn't. And so all this bull about, oh, Westminster didn't give us this and Westminster didn't give us that, it's utter crap, and she knows it. Anyway, the Scottish Greens Minister and Humza Yousaf had continued to blame the UK government for their failure to launch a recycling scheme. But their own risk register revealed it would have had to be delayed anyway, due to them losing a court case. My God, it's like Macbeth meeting the three witches, isn't it? Look, Humza Yousaf is Macbeth, and there they are. Hubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Definitely trouble. Anyway, Lorna Slater and Humza Yousaf have been left red-faced over claims that the UK government collapsed Scotland's deposit return scheme after it was revealed that it would probably have been delayed even with the full go-ahead from Westminster because of this court case, you see. The interference by Alistair Jack and Rishi Sunak was blamed by the SNP Greens executive for the recycling initiative being scrapped until October 25 at the earliest. And this was after the UK minister said glass bottles should be removed so that it would align with the UK-wide project. And of course they didn't do this. I've said before, they wanted glass in there so they could own the glass, which they thought they'd sell back to the glass industry for like level 2, grade 2 glass works and things. But the glass industry says, no, it only works because we get it for free, because it's unsuitable for new glass, but new quality glass, but it's ideal for industrial level or industrial type glass works. Which is only feasible if it's free. Plus the fact that they have something like a 90% glass recycling rate nationally anyway. And that is why the UK government the UK-wide recycling scheme will not include glass, because the glass recycling scheme is excellent. Anyway, it's now been revealed that the Scottish Government's own risk register revealed that the scheme would need to be delayed from its revised March 24th launch date if they lost a legal case with a shopkeeper over handling fees. And almost a month after the initiative was delayed, they lost that judicial review put forward by Abdul Majid. Well done him. We've mentioned it before. We actually covered the court case. It means that even if the UK government gave full permission for the project to go ahead in March 24, it would not have been able to and would have been delayed further. And it adds further pressure on Miss Slater's botched handling of the scheme as she was tasked to oversee it. And that's why it's a complete pig's ear. You've given a moron responsibility and the moron has cocked it up. No surprise, is it? In the latest risk register, dated June the 1st, 6 days before the initiative was delayed, one of the risks listed was the judicial review, which was described as if the judicial review against CSL requires CSL to work with individual retailers to calculate their specific retailer handling fee, then the scheme won't be ready to go live in March 24. This will result in a delay or non-delivery of the expected benefits. In other words, if they lost the case, it was scuppered. And they lost the case. Because of course they did. Because they didn't put enough thought in it in the first place. Because these morons were incapable of even thinking of some of these things. In the solutions column, an official wrote, "There are no actions we can put in place to mitigate this risk. Therefore, we need to tolerate the risk." And on June the 30th, Mr Majid won his legal case against the Scottish Government and Circularity Scotland over handling fees. Basically, they wanted to put such a price on him, it would have been financially disastrous for him and for all small shop owners. The cost, because of the registration cost and the running cost and that, it would have bankrupted some, and so they just wouldn't have signed up for it. He owns Baba's Kitchen and Cost Cutter in Bells Hill and filed a petition for the review of reasonable handling fees. This was the amount of cash being paid to shops for the costs incurred, including collecting and storing containers handed back to them to be recycled. Circularity Scotland intends this fee to be a fixed amount regardless of how much the storage and handling actually cost retailers. They produce figures of £2.69p. No, sorry, 2.69 pence. It's not reading it correctly, it's me, not them this time. 2.69 pence per container collected manually and 3.55 pence for the first 8,000 containers collected via vending machines. After that, they would be paid £1.35 for every container. But, and of course, that's okay when you're talking big stores, but when you're talking little corner shops, it's not right. Mr Majid challenged the legality of the fees and argued that their inability to take into account individual costs was unfair to small businesses. He claimed his business would lose £1,000 a week from operating a collection point and would distort the competition between him and larger outlets. He won the case on June the 30th, and Lorna Slater put her head in her hand. This means the Scottish Government will need to go back to the drawing board over the retail handling fees and like the risk register says, they would need to work out individuals' fees for each retailer, meaning the scheme could not go live anytime soon. They have to deal with each individual retailer, and given that there are, I don't know, tens of, if not hundreds of thousands of retailers across Scotland, well, it's going to take them a long time, isn't it? Ms Slater has continued to blame Westminster for the delay, even though it is quite clearly not Westminster's fault. It is entirely the morons' fault. But the moron still blames Westminster. She said, "We made it absolutely clear to the UK government that vetoing our scheme would result in lost investment, but that did not stop their deeply regrettable last-minute intervention, which undermined the viability of Scotland's deposit return scheme." Rubbish. They said you can have everything except glass. Because you're not having glass, because glass isn't there. That you were told you can have everything. Not good enough. We need glass. You're never going to get glass. It's not part of it. Also, the court case. That's what scuppered you. Anyway, the Scottish Government remains committed, she said, to the delivery of a successful deposit return scheme. But the onus is now on the UK Government to make progress so that as much as possible of investment is made by businesses in Scotland can be put to good use. No, the onus is on the Scottish Government to do the actual work involved and talk to each individual shopkeeper and make arrangements for their costs. Good luck with that. There's probably 100,000 shops. You're going to do it one a day? Good luck. I'll be long dead before this comes in if you did that. But of course the same thing applies to the UK-wide when the UK-wide one comes in. They will have to go to each and individual shop. There's probably 1 million shops. If you think about it, not maybe 1 million, 500,000. I'm going to say there's 500,000 shops and they have to speak to each individual one because of that court case in Scotland. It's going to take them a lot longer to come in, isn't it? Oh dearie me. Nobody thinks of these things, do they? Nobody does joined up thinking anymore. Anyway, I shall round off and come up. She goes through life and she really hasn't got a clue, has she? I don't know how she functions as an adult. She is so stupid. It is off the charts. I mean, you have a bell chart, but she's like negative. She's negative on the bell chart. I've never seen anyone as stupid as her. And then, of course, every time anything goes wrong, it's Westminster's fault, because that's the only people who she can blame. She dare not blame herself, because people might look too closely and realise they're dealing with a moron. I don't think there's any doubt. Anyway, I should leave that there. We should wait until the next thing that comes from Lorna Slater, the next failure. It's always good value, isn't she? Oh well. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see in here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Very important that you do. Gets the truth out. Leave a like. Also very important. Spreads the news on this video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, guys, always recycle. Always. It's good. Even if you're not getting paid for it. Bye.